Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Eris. This is Eris Atelier, your bag making utopia. So today I'm actually posting a tutorial on how I made this furby, plush, lush, very soft, but also kind of weird looking bag. I mean, I sort of started this project with the intention of not getting to waste any materials I have in my studio right now. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've had this piece of fur that have just been lying in my scrap basket, and I just took a bunch of other accessories. I actually even repurposed some of them. And I was like, I want to do something simple, but it sort of backfired. I thought this thing was going to take me like a few hours, but because I was getting to manage fur, so it was actually quite challenging. So I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and if this is my first video you're watching, you are lucky. You are in the right place on how to learn bags. You can check out my other videos, from my tutorials to my bag making tips to my bag business tips and every other fun thing you can find here. So all that being said, thanks for stopping by. Now let's go on to make this bag. But before then, don't forget to like and subscribe. I love you guys so much, and welcome to 2023.
So guys, before we jump into the tutorial, I just want to quickly state the dimension of the bag, which is 20 by 12 by 7 centimeter overall. Now these are the dimensions you are going to use when you are cutting your pieces. And the accessories I'm using here is a D-ring with hooks and a pair of washers, and a bag lock that is in dire need of good polishing. So having this set aside, let's get right to making our bags. So I'm just going to cut out my stiffener here. I'm using fiberboard. For more on stiffeners, you can actually click the link on top of this video if you want to know more about stiffeners and stabilizers. But before then, let us go on to finish cutting this. This is going to be the main piece of the bag, and I'm just going to set this aside. So off camera, I cut two pieces of chipboard, which was 10 by 13.5 centimeter. Those are what I'm going to use to do the gusset of the bag, and I'm just putting this on top my fur, just to get like a general idea of how much material I will need for each side. And I am doing the same thing for the main piece, because the method we're using today is one I use a lot, which is the wrapping method. So in this method, your actual measurement is going to be your stabilizer. Your material is going to be a little bigger because you need to glue the two pieces together before wrapping it. So for the lining, I'm using my custom cotton fabric, and I'm just going to draw out the exact size on it. This is going to be a guide when I am gumming together, but still, just like the other ones, when I'm cutting and I'm leaving a little allowance. You can do from 1 centimeter to 2 centimeter, it doesn't matter. None of these sides actually eventually show. So I'm doing the same thing for my gussets. And one last quick cutting for the pockets. I'm using genuine leather here, and I'm cutting 10 by 14 centimeter. This one is just going to be sewn directly onto the lining with no extra finessing necessary. Nothing else is going to be added. So I just sewed the top of the pocket before marking it down. The goal is to just draw like lines that are going to be a guide for you to apply your gum. I always like to gum this before I sew it, so that I know as I'm sewing, nothing is moving around. So I'm just going to draw out my lines first before I applied gum, and I just glued it on it. So there was a mistake I made. When I was doing this, I didn't even know what was going on. It was after I finished sewing it, I was like, yikes. So my error here is that the way I sewed this pocket means that if I had continued like this, it was going to be facing upside down. So it's very important to know that if you make the same mistake, your pockets are going to be upside down. You have to turn it the other way and sew it right side up. So I had to do this correction off camera. So the next step is just to go on and apply contact adhesive to every piece I have cut so far, which is both the stiffeners and the outer material. So this is always good to do when you apply your contact adhesive, you have to let it breathe a bit. You have to allow it to sort of dry a little. You can get more bag making tips in this link right here, but we're just going to go on and apply a not too generous amount, but I have to put this on everything, if not it's not going to fuse properly. So after letting it dry a little, I'm just going to sort of arrange it. I'm using my mark as a guide. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but it just helps to know that, okay, your work is sort of centralized. Then if there's any extra allowance you feel like trimming off, that is fine. So I'm also going to do the same thing for the sides, which is gumming the chipboard and the fur material before now going around the frame. And I'm doing this exact same thing for all 3 pieces here. It's not just exclusive to one side. So anything I'm doing on this main piece, I'm actually doing it on the gussets too. So I'm just going to go around and sort of apply like a frame of contact adhesive, and after doing that I let it sit a bit before I start to fold, or rather wrap. So if you were using Ankara or synthetic leather or even real leather and you want to use this method, this is how you actually do it. So after wrapping, then you can trim the sides, but because today the fur is so fuzzy, I now had to go again, give it a literal trim all around so that when I am closing my bag, it sort of sits really flat and it doesn't feel like it's too bulky, because you can see this fur was really fuzzy. So after it's already looking nice. So after trimming all 4 corners, again on this one I had to really trim it low, and this was where dealing with the fur started to really frustrate me, because I had these particles everywhere, I had hair everywhere. I'm sure even days after doing this I still had like fur all over the chairs in my studio, but I just had to do it because I wanted this to really sit flat. So I had to trim out every fuzzy hair and anything that was going to sort of make it not look good when I'm finishing. So to join the lining to the sides, this is how I'm going to layer them and sew just this edge so that it has a way better closing when you're looking at it from the outer parts. So it's my mistake I did not have yellow thread on this day, but I did not want that to dissuade me, so I went ahead with the closest color I could find, and that was, I think it was like bronze or gold or something. So basically after sewing like that, you put your contact adhesive and you're done for the sides, at least for now. So we're going back to the main piece, and now it's time to attach accessories. This is always a very emotional phase because you do not want to make any mistakes, so you need to take as much time as you need. So for this, I just sort of gave a gap of 1 inch from the edge. I wanted a little space before putting the bag lock, and I sort of just centralized it before going out to mark out all the holes, and I punched all the holes, and I'm just going to cut out the main square hole where the other piece of the bag lock is going to go through. So I'm just going to do that now, and off camera I also did some trimming on the area where the bag lock was going to sit. I just wanted it to really like go deep into the fur, so I did some trimming on the outer part. I don't think I showed that in this video, but it was a really messy thing. It was like a very messy haircut. Alright, so after fixing our bag lock, the next thing is to go and fix our D-ring, or rather our special D-ring with attachment hooks at the bottom. I think we'll call it that. So the same thing is 1 inch from the edge, rather from both sides, and I'm just going to draw a straight line and put that on 2.5, which is the middle of the top. You want this to be really centralized so that when you hook your chains on or your straps, it comes out really neat. So I'm just going to trace the legs, or rather the wideness of the legs, and wherever it shows me, that is where I'm going to sort of prick 2 holes in, and from the outer part I'm just going to push this in. But before bending the leg, it's always important to use the washers. Not all accessories come with this, but when it does, it's a bonus because it means that your bag is most likely to last a little longer. But I don't always advise using things like this on bigger bags, because bigger bags mean heavier load, and heavier load doesn't always go with some of these accessories. They sort of just snap or just break, or sometimes just straight out refuse to do the job. But this one is a small purse, so we were in the safe zone and within the weight bracket for accessories like this. So next thing is now to start closing the bag. So basically I'm now going to do the same thing I did for the sides, which was putting like a layer of contact adhesive. Please ignore the amount of fur that was just hanging around. I had no control. So because I'm gumming on fabric, I'm only putting the adhesive on one side, and because I'm using that method, I can use a little contact adhesive when it's still kind of sticky and just sort of lay the fabric on it. So this one, the fabric now soaks up the gum and it now fuses to it. The problem is that when you put contact adhesive on fabric, sometimes it soaks through and you have your work looking very messy. So on the side that you have your bag lock in, so basically that's under the flap, you are going to fold your fabric in until it aligns with the edge of your outer piece. But because I'm using fur, this was really tricky. If this was leather, it would have been very easy, but with fur I had to sort of like push back the hairs until I was able to like find the actual edge of the project. So we're just going to fold that down carefully. So you're starting from the top of the bag down to the edge, and you're working your way back to the top. So basically when you open the flap, the part that makes up the flap, that is the only part you're sewing. You're not sewing the entire thing, just the point to when you get to the top where you open the flap. Wherever your flap ends, that is the only thing you're doing this to. So because this is a very long flap, so we had a lot to work with. So let's do the other side, the straight side first. So as you're sewing, if you're working with fur or faux fur or any fuzzy material, you have to be very careful and be as slow as necessary. It's very important. If not, you're going to sew your fingers and injure yourself badly. If you want to, you can actually use a little contact adhesive, but because I didn't want to disrupt my work, or I didn't want to have to deal with sticky needles, so I just had to hold it and use bag clips, or rather bag making clips, or craft clips, or binder clips, yes, that's the other name, to hold it down while I was able to work easily. So after doing this, we are going to sort of give the lower parts of the gusset 2 notches on each side. So because the depth of our gusset on this is 1.5, it means I'm going to mark 1.5 on the bottom and on the side. I was going to use my L ruler, but it was way too big, so I just picked up the back of my bag lock, and I just sort of used it to mark this angle 90, and I just used the scissors to carefully, you're only cutting the places that you marked. If you go beyond that point, it's not going to go well. Yeah, it's not. So the same thing on the other side, just for the sake of people that didn't get it the first time, you are marking 1.5. I'm going to put this on the screen, and you're just cutting it out, and you have to make sure that both sides are equal. If not, they are not going to align. So you need to be able to bend it, you see, and have both sides meet. So at this point, I was tired of dealing with the fur. I just got like a bottle of water and I started spritzing it to use it as some form of edge control. So I just dampened it a bit so that I could sweep the fur inside. But if you know you're working with a very light colored fur, you should make sure your hands are clean, because you're basically just going to be wiping your dirty hands on your work. So now I'm just going to go and clip it. This is why I love this method. I mean, I haven't even sewn it, but I'm already seeing how it's going to look when it's finished. So don't mind the damp fur. It was the only way I could actually see the real edge, and it was what made. So this should also be a tip. I don't know, I think it worked for me. It was like a last minute thing. I just started spritzing water on it, like at least to cool the hair. When it dries, it can get all fuzzy like a teddy bear, but till then I needed to be able to see what I was sewing. So I sort of just slipped it both ways, just water, no oil, nothing else. You want it to be able to dry and revert to what it was before. So this is going to be our second to last step. That's after clipping. We're going to take it back to the sewing machine. Today I am using my trusty 2-lion cylinder arm industrial sewing machine with a servo motor. It's what I've been using in my home studio for some months now, and it's been serving me well. I haven't had any issues. I had to get it modified though, and that was like one of the best decisions I ever made with a new machine. I just took the gamble and it worked totally fine. So we're just going to sew the two sides down. You have to be as neat as possible. If not, the fur is not going to hide everything. It's still going to sort of show if it's a messy stitching. Okay, so what do you guys think of this bag? This was like a last minute thing. I just really wanted to put something this week, and I've had this for forever. So you can check out my other videos and let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.